What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's topic is, do you need expensive camera gear to make dope videos? The quick answer is no. There's also the factor that if you do have expensive gear, it does help bump the quality of your work if you know what you're doing. Believe it or not, that entire intro sequence was entirely filmed on iPhone, entirely edited on iPhone. All the effects, all the transitions, all the sound effects, all of that was done on my phone using the KineMaster app and this DJI OM4 that I just picked up. But you do not need a stabilizer to film some cool stuff on your phone. iPhone video actually comes with stabilization, and the time-lapse feature that I use to create those hyperlapses automatically stabilizes them, and it stabilizes them really well. Actually, I found that I didn't even need this to create those hyperlapses. I actually first heard about the KineMaster app during my editing competition that I ran a couple months ago. Some of the people who entered the competition did not have access to a computer, but they had a phone, and they also had the KineMaster app, and I was like, whoa, you edited this on a phone? It was just impressive that there's an app that can do the things I was seeing in these entries. Before then, I had no idea there was a mobile editing app where you could add transitions, you can add color keys, you can even add sound design on your phone, and I was just blown away by the fact that that was even possible. A couple weeks later, KineMaster just happened to send me an email. They also slid into my Instagram DMs and asked me to create a video for them. So I was like, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to try this app out and make a little creative edit using only my phone. So in this video, I'm just going to give you my general thoughts on mobile editing, specifically on KineMaster, what I think works really well, and then what I also think is a little bit limited. And I'm also going to give you some mobile filming tips on how to use your iPhone to create some dope videos. Because guys, phone cameras are actually becoming really powerful these days. A lot of them can film in 4K 60, some of them in 4K 120, and it's just nuts what they can do. Apple's picked up on that, Google's picked up on that. All these phone companies are starting to make phone cameras really nice. And that is actually a really exciting thing for content creators who are just trying to get into the game of YouTube or making Instagram content. For those of you unaware, newer iPhones allow you to lock the exposure on your camera. Simply just hold down on the screen for a couple seconds and then the exposure becomes locked. This allows you to get a more cinematic look because your exposure won't be flickering all over the place as you move your camera around. And you can even use a wide-angle lens on the newer iPhones. Just opens up a ton of possibilities. The fact that we have different lenses, it's like interchangeable lenses, but on your phone, and it's all at the click of a button instead of actually swapping out a lens on your camera. Another key feature on the iPhone that I'd like to point out is the time-lapse feature that you can use in your camera app. It is actually so nice. I had never really played around with it until now. I wanted to include some hyperlapses in this video, so I picked up this DJI OM4 because it has a hyperlapse feature, and I used it to create a couple of the hyperlapses, but I wasn't able to get all the camera motion I wanted out of this thing because it's a little limited when it comes to rotation. You can simply take your camera app, go to time-lapse mode, and then start filming. Keep your subject centered, walk towards it, walk away from it, whatever direction your motion is in, and it will stabilize the entire thing near perfectly. It's like a warp stabilizer that automatically gets applied to time lapses on your phone, which makes it into a hyperlapse. All your iPhones that have a time lapse feature, it's basically a hyperlapse feature if you want to use that. For those of you who like that style of filmmaking and editing, that is an incredibly useful feature on iPhone that I've found. When it comes to the editing process on mobile, KineMaster gives you so much more power than I expected out of a mobile editor. You have the ability to add media to your timeline. This can be in the form of video or photo, and then you can add layers on top of it. So you can actually have multi-layer edits all on your phone using the KineMaster app. Additionally, you can add as many layers of sound and music as you want. You can create luma fades, glitch transitions, solar flares, seamless transitions like I used in the beginning of this video. There's so many options. I had a ton of fun just going through those and playing around with the transitions that were available. Some of them I'm not a big fan of. Some of them just looked kind of like slideshowy transitions, but then they had seamless transitions where it's like, yo, that actually looks like some of the transitions I use in After Effects. My favorite transition packs that I downloaded were the LumaFade, Dolly Warp, Speedy Warp, and Film Burn transition packs on the app. These packs really allowed me to emulate the seamless transition style that I use in my own video editing, which is, again, crazy that you can do this on a phone and emulate something I would normally create in After Effects. Under the Adjustments tab, you can even edit the colors of your video. You can edit the contrast, the saturation, the temperature. It did feel a little bit limited with the options when it came to coloring on the app. Now, that's not too big of a detriment because iPhones actually have pretty decent color right out of camera. They tend to nail white balance most of the time, and you don't really need to do much color correction. But when it comes to LUTs and adding a color grade, it is a little more difficult to do on the app, though there are techniques you can apply to create a little bit of a color grade. I would not suggest KineMaster as a color color correction app. It's more of an editing app, but it is nice to have the option to adjust the colors a bit. I was also impressed by how clean the chroma key came out when I did that little transition at the end where I had my hand up against the blue sky. I was just surprised at how easy it was to use the chroma key tool and how clean my key came out. When it comes to sound design, the app has options for preset sounds that they have in their app store. Using my premium account, I was able to download some premium sound effects, and I used a couple of those in my edit. It's not a full audio library, so I had to go onto Audio Blocks and download the rest of my sound effects. It was surprisingly easy to go to Safari on your phone and download these sound effects, then import them into KineMaster. I thought it would be a difficult process since iPhones don't really have a document storage area like an Android would. But in order to get sound effects onto the app, all you have to do is download them on Safari and then import them into KineMaster. It's literally a two-step process, so it made it really easy for me to pull sound effects into the app, and that allowed me to do my sound design on the app. There are sliders to adjust the volume, you can add reverb, so I was able to actually get a little creative with that. And again, guys, I say this all the time, sound design is what really brings edits to life, so the ability to do that on a mobile phone is huge. Couple thoughts on the DJI OM4 as well. It was really easy to use and set up, and these are relatively cheap. This was 150 bucks. That's all I really spent on gear for this video, assuming you already have a phone. It was just a nice little tool to have for filming that video, and it actually made the process really cool. Kind of helped me get into the mindset of I'm making a video, because when I'm walking around with my phone, it's just like, what am I, like doing Snapchat? Kind of felt like I was just like making Instagram stories rather than filming a cinematic edit. When I used this, I was in the zone. I was like, yo, I'm actually filming a dope video right now. In conclusion, no, expensive gear is not necessary to make dope content, especially now that phones have become so advanced. There are all these tools you can use, such as the DJI OM4 and the KineMaster app. The barrier to entry for creating content is so low these days, guys. If you don't want to spend a couple thousand on camera gear, you can create really awesome stuff on your phone. I always get asked, what's the best camera to start out on? And I'm just like, well, you could do this, but I honestly think the best thing to start out on is your phone. Obviously, mobile filming and editing is a little more limited than buying a full camera rig and editing software, but if your primary concern is to make entertaining content, your phone is more than enough to start doing that. Do I suggest iPhone and KineMaster as a replacement for nice camera gear? No, of course not. If you want to become a serious filmmaker or editor and start making money on your craft, I would definitely suggest investing in gear. As a professional video creator and editor myself, I see KineMaster as a valuable tool for creating mobile content. What I will probably use it for in the future is to create some Instagram reels, because I'm trying to delve into that side of Instagram now that that's an option. But I see a lot of potential using my phone and KineMaster for that. With time, mobile phones and apps on your mobile phone will become more and more powerful, and honestly, guys, they're already powerful enough to create awesome content, but in the future, I expect to be blown away by what we can do on a phone. I just wanted to create this video to let you guys know that content creation is accessible to anyone. You are only limited by your own creativity. And that's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'd like to extend a thank you to KineMaster for sponsoring this video. Definitely make sure to check out the app on the Apple App Store or on Google Play. I had a ton of fun playing around with it, and I really think it could be a valuable tool for many of you when it comes to mobile content creation. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Y'all nigga back to the bluff. Trying to get back to the bus. If I do not make a few million and shit, I might just go back to the hustle. I got me some product and I ain't gonna hide it. I might just start trapping in public. I might go to prison.